things I know are true. Isaiah Thomas would be better off with Dick Cheney than Don Cheney. Steve McNair's going to will the Titans to a win in New England. Look, I don't know if the De La Hoya-Mosley fight was fixed, but I thought the judges got it right. And I'm Max Kellerman. Now, as for this show...
It's Around the Horn, the show of competitive banter. Here's Max Kellerman.
Welcome back to Happy Hour. We're talking the Rams and Panthers, Colts and Chiefs, and the chances of USC and LSU actually squaring off in 2 weeks, all with our national panel, and here they are. At the Los Angeles Times, it is yesterday's winner, Bill Plaschke. At the Denver Post, it's Woody Page.
I hope you're indicted for fixing this show.
Come on, it's preposterous. At the Chicago Sun-Times, it is Jay Marriott.
Fix the show. Fix your shirt, Page. Look
Yeah,
at
really,
that.
Woody. And at the Boston Globe, it's Michael Holly.
Hey, Max, is this show the quiz show of its time?
Don't be ridiculous. All right, you know what? Yesterday I was fixing the show. Today I'm telling the truth. We're the show that scores the argument, as you may have figured out by now, and here's how I do it with these joysticks and mute buttons. I give these people points based on point of view, style, and information. Good answers get 2, great ones 3, and I use the mute button to penalize and direct traffic. We eliminate guys, so a one-on-one showdown determines the winner. Let's make it happen.
It's the first word.
The first words are, let's get it on, as my man Mills Lane would say, as first reported on Around the Horn. People are sleeping on the Carolina Panthers, who play at the Taxpayer Dome tomorrow. The Rams haven't lost at home all year, but they are coming off a critical beatdown at the hands of the sorry Detroit Lions in the last week of the season. Carolina is a 7.5-point underdog. Guys, Rams-Panthers in the Gateway City. Who wins it? Around the Horn of Michael Holly.
Hey, Max, not only are they sleeping on the Panthers, they're sleeping on their coach, John Fox. How did this guy not get a Coach of the Year vote? Okay. 2 years ago, they got 1 win, 7 wins last year, division champs this year. John Fox also did a great job when he was with the New York Giants, the defensive coordinator, matching up with the Rams. The Rams are going to bring up their max protect offense to counter Carolina's best defensive line in the league, but that's going to take away their strength. Carolina with Stephen Davis is going to wear down. They're going to wear down.
St. Louis isn't built for that. Go ahead.
You know the show is fixed if the producers are making Michael make that argument. For one thing, John Fox is not playing. He doesn't play. And this max protect, that fits right into the Rams' strength because they'll have all the blockers back. It'll be the Rams receivers against Carolina's young secondary. Speed kills. The Rams by at least 2 touchdowns. They won 15 in a row at home. Also, Mark Bulger, 18-4 in his last 22 starts. He's unbeatable at home. This is the Rams.
Well, it's true. You all sleep on Bulger. It really is true. Sorry, go ahead, Mariani.
No, Mark Bulger, last 9 starts, 15 interceptions.
Okay.
And he's behind an offensive line that has allowed 89 sacks in 2 years, and they're going against a great defensive line with the Panthers. They play smash-mouth football, and I think Stephen Davis is going to wear down this St. Louis defense. They are due to lose in the Stone, and they will lose.
Day after day, you don't get it here. Let me tell you about Bruce Holt Cousin. There's no way that the Carolina defense can defense all 3 of them. They're going to have to try and put more pressure on Bulger. When that happens, he'll hit the hot receiver of the 3, and they'll just go down the field. They're averaging 33 points this season, and they will pick Carolina apart. And with that defense 4-1-6, you're going to see Carolina struggle to get Stephen Davis free.
Okay, Holly, go ahead.
No, Woody, who's the third guy you mentioned?
Who's
the third guy you mentioned for the Rams?
My cousin.
Cousin, he's a cornerback for the Panthers. What are you talking about?
Go ahead, Plaschke.
Yeah, no, I think the whole thing about the Rams blocking is they're going to have 7 blockers, so the Carolina defensive line is going to be nullified. It's going to be about Ricky Manning Jr. is going to get burned by Isaac Bruce, by Torrey Holt, and that's what it's going to come down to.
Carolina just is lost this year. Nobody is giving Fox any credit. Stephen Davis may have been an MVP candidate. Nobody said anything. I mean, I think this weekend, America is going to discover the Panthers and why they're a terrific...
You guys are mentioning the running back for the Rams. Fuck you, Holly.
For crying out loud.
Come on.
Woody, is there anyone else on any other team, not on these 2 teams we're talking about, you care to discuss? Next topic. The Tennessee Titans are in friggin' freezing New England to play the Patriots tomorrow on what is supposed to be a clear but cold day. Tennessee is a 6-point dog, and Eddie George hasn't practiced because of his sore ankle. Guys, can Tennessee beat New England tomorrow night? Around the horn again to Michael Holley.
Look, I got a lot of respect for Tennessee. I love Eddie George. I love Steve McNair. I think Jeff Fisher is the most underrated coach in the league.
Right.
But they can't beat New England. These teams are even. But the one difference, I know Steve McNair was the co-MVP of the league, but Tom Brady is 25-4 after November 1st. He has never lost in the playoffs. Super Bowl MVP. He's going to make plays against that 30th ranked pass defense of Tennessee. That's going to be the difference in the game. I think it's going to be a close game, but New England's going to pull out.
Michael, you're right. Brady's never lost in the playoffs. How many playoff games has he been in, Michael?
Hey, three.
Three, right. Oh,
3-0.
big three. Oh,
hey,
3-0.
has Steve McNair won a Super Bowl?
No,
I don't think so.
The big difference here is the run defense. You forget the Titans have the best run defense in football. They held Jamal Lewis to like 30-something yards last week. So the Patriots are not going to run the ball. It's going to be all about Brady. I don't think Brady can beat the Titans by himself. I think Steve McNair is Superman right now.
Bill, Steve McNair threw 3 interceptions last week. I agree. I love his valor, and the same with Eddie George. But come on, Eddie George is banged up. Steve is banged up. The Patriots are rested. They're at home. They're 6-0 in snow games. It's very cold in Boston. Look, I love the Titans story as much as anybody, but it's over this weekend because the Patriots, have you been watching the last 2 months? The very best team, the most complete team in professional football.
You can't continue to win week after week after week. Think about Russell Crowe in Gladiator. That's Steve McNair on the football field. Third down, the guy you want in this league with the ball, McNair, he's a warrior. He's a gladiator. Jeff Fisher is the most underrated coach still in professional football. He's got some answers for the Patriots, who continue to be a soft team even in victory. I'm telling you, Eddie George was a man last week.
Guys, McNair was the highest rated passer this year on third down. Now, this is an interesting matchup, partly because you have 2 of the best big game quarterbacks, right, in the National Football League. Who's a better big game quarterback between Brady and McNair? Who'd you rather have in a big game?
Well, Tom Brady has won a Super Bowl, right?
Yeah, but McNair's within inches.
That's enough for me. How many Super Bowls has McNair won?
Steve McNair is better in the fourth quarter than Tom Brady. He's better on third down than Tom Brady. I'll take Steve McNair in this game.
Plasky, based on what? I mean, you saw this guy in Super Bowl 30.
I don't know.
No, based on Super Bowl 36 when the guy led the team to the winning drive, a 48-yard kick. Adam Vinatieri, you were there in New Orleans.
Oh, boy, that's
what
a great winning drive.
About?
A 48-yard kick right there. He really drove the whole length of the field.
All right, wait a minute. Woody, who do you take between McNair and Brady?
McNair for me, absolutely, no question.
Woody, how about you?
Well, I think it's fairly obvious.
Russell Crowe? Who?
Yeah, who? Who you taking, Woody? Go ahead, Jay.
No, the point we got to make here is New England's defense is the best in the league.
Who are you taking, Mariotti?
The schemes, I've already told you. I'm taking Brady. He has won a Super Bowl.
Okay.
What more do you want from the guy in that argument?
I think
McNair on third down.
Brady, come on.
Listen, if there's one guy I have to choose right now, it's McNair. He's the one guy. He's the warrior. Woody, I agree with you. He's the gladiator. But you can make a very good argument. That's the same exact argument for Tom Brady. You can make the same argument for him. One of the reasons it's such an interesting game. Titans are going to win it, guys. Buy or sell's next.
Thank you.
Coming up, Priest is a beast, but will his Chiefs prove to be the best of the Midwest on Sunday? Plus, Isaiah Thomas wants the NBA's angriest player. What kind of sheet is that to start spreading around? For the Horn! Buy or sell?
Buy or sell time. Let's keep it moving. First topic. In new Knicks Stephon Marbury's Madison Square Garden debut, the Houston Rockets got off to a 23-2 lead over New York, and the fans responded by chanting, "Fire Cheney," which Isaiah Thomas will probably do. Meanwhile, Isaiah is reportedly in hot pursuit of Rasheed Wallace, offering Portland a package that includes Keith Van Horn. You buy or sell Rasheed Wallace is a good acquisition for the Knicks. Plashke.
You know, I'm buying this if it means Van Horn gets out of town and when Wallace he's down. The last 4 years, this is his lowest points, rebounds, but he's playing at the 3.
Right.
Moving to the 4 will be fine.
Woody.
I'm totally buying this. First of all, when he goes to New York, he'll get lost there. Nobody will care about his problems. He won't be able to drive his car 85 miles an hour. And 2, who cares if he lights up a joint in New York? Isn't that right, Max?
Jay.
You know, after careful consideration here, I am going to buy this. It's difficult to make the quick fix happen in the NBA. He's done it once with Marbury. You know, Rasheed does not have the same number of technicals he used to. I think he'll be okay there. I'm going to buy this, please.
Michael.
I'm going to buy it. He's a talented player. He's got size. The Knicks have a size problem, and they play in the Eastern Conference. You could go in the Eastern Conference and win it either this year or next year with Rasheed Wallace and Stephon Marbury.
Wallace could play the 5 in New York. Well, who's in the East to oppose him? Come on. If you have a chance to get Rasheed Wallace, that's what you have to do. You have to go over after guys who are under market value, who are undervalued in the salary cap league, like they did with Sprewell, Wallace, the same sort of thing. Next topic. According to today's New York Daily News, a corruption probe by the FBI is examining whether the September bout between Oscar De La Hoya and Shane Mosley was fixed. Mosley won by unanimous decision, but De La Hoya and his promoter Bob Arum cried foul. The investigation, however, centers on allegations that Top Rank, which is Arum's company, and a number of its boxers were involved in schemes to throw fights. Mark Ratner, executive director of the Nevada State Athletic Commission, denies the Daily News report. Buy or sell the chances that De La Hoya Mosley, the fight, was fixed back in September. Woody?
Not a chance. I'm selling this. I do understand there's a lot of evidence. An undercover agent hung out at that place where you buy the $5 steaks, Max, and he learned that the fight was fixed. But there's no way a fight of that magnitude would have been fixed. We would have known.
You know, I bought you dinner, Woody. You could just say thank you. Jay?
You know, I'm going to sell this. You know, I'm not a big boxing guy like you, but I know that these two competitors are not going to be throwing fights. I did once upon a time see a wrestler named Derek Dukes throw a fight against Mark Gastineau, but not.
What does that mean?
Well, it's simply that fixed fights do happen.
It stinks. That's why.
Once in a while. Yeah. Michael Holley?
I'm going to sell this. Two boxing experts I respect a great deal, Max Kellerman and Bill Plaschke. They were there. They didn't find a problem with it. But I'll tell you what was fixed. That Trinidad De La Hoya fight. De La Hoya should have won that fight.
I thought De La Hoya won also. Plaschke?
Okay, no, I sell that this fight was fixed. And you're wrong, Michael. Trinidad beat De La Hoya back then. De La Hoya ran for the last three rounds. He deserved to lose. There's no way this fight would be fixed, De La Hoya Mosley, because it cost De La Hoya millions of dollars by losing. Why would they fix it?
Plus, Plaschke, how'd you have the fight scored?
I had Mosley winning all the way.
Me too. I had Mosley winning, and a lot of ringside press people had Mosley winning.
But everybody at home had De La Hoya winning because that's what HBO said.
And also because on TV you can see accuracy better. Ringside you see the force of the blow more, and Mosley was landing the harder shots, right hands to the body. Next topic. Mike Vick has a new head coach, and it's Jim Mora Jr. Falcons owner Arthur Blank hired Mora before he interviewed Nick Saban, who'd been convinced by new GM Rich McKay to consider the job. Atlanta Journal-Constitution columnist Mark Bradley hates it. Mora isn't the guy you hire when Smith and Crennel and maybe even Saban are available. Mora is the guy you interview just to say you've interviewed him. Buy or sell Atlanta's choice of Jim Mora Jr. Mariotti.
Oh, I'm selling it. Bradley is right here. Crennel has won a Super Bowl. Lovie Smith has been to a Super Bowl. Jim Mora has been to the playoffs, like his father would say, but that's it. Who is this guy? I'm afraid that the minority hire people are going to have a point on this. And two, offensively, who is going to tutor Michael Vick? Apparently it's going to be Greg Knapp. Who's Greg Knapp?
Michael House.
Now, I'm going to buy this, Jay. It's not Jim Mora Jr.'s fault that the NFL has a hiring problem when it comes to minorities. Look, this guy is well-regarded. He's highly regarded, and he's a defensive guy. They play in a division with the Panthers and the Buccaneers, two very strong teams defensively. And he's going to bring that to Atlanta. They were last in defense last year.
No, I'm selling this, Michael. It is Jim Mora Jr.'s fault that his defense has never finished higher than 13th in the league. Michael Vick would love to play against his defense. I don't think he wants to play with him.
Yep. Woody.
I agree, Bill. I have to sell this. You got the best offensive weapon in the game, and you hire a defensive coordinator? That makes no sense. You go out and get a great offensive mind. There are a number of them.
Okay. Next topic. It should be a shootout on Sunday when Peyton Manning and the Colts visit Kansas City. The Chiefs have won 13 straight at Arrowhead, and teams that play home games in domes are just 11-32 when they play outdoors come playoff time. However, Indy has beaten KC 6 straight times. So, given all of my incredible research, which took many painstaking hours, buy or sell the Colts' chances Sunday in Kansas City, Holly?
I'm going to sell this, but it's going to be a great game. It's going to be a video game coming to life at Arrowhead Stadium. But I like the matchup of Gonzalez versus the Colts linebackers or safeties, and I also like Priest Holmes versus that Indianapolis defense.
Okay, Flash.
No, I'm going to buy this. You're wrong, Michael. Indianapolis is going to win this game. It's not about Manning and Trent Green. It's about Edgerrin James. 8 straight games over 100 yards or more against the league's worst rushing defense. Indianapolis wins this game.
I'm buying this for the same reason. The Kansas City Chiefs have gone in the tank. I agree totally with my good friend there, the columnist Jason Danielle Washington Whitlock. He said they can't stop anybody anymore, and I totally agree with that.
Jay?
I'm selling. I've done my own research here. Kansas City has won its last 13 at home, and their defense is not all that bad. 14 points a game at home, and only have 100 yards rushing at home. That's not bad. That's a flip-flop in that case.
All right, you know what, Jay? Because you actually said the word flip-flop on this show, I'm moving you past Plaschke.
Wait,
You're advancing.
He says the Chiefs' defense is not that bad and he stays on the show?
Yes,
How does that happen?
That's right.
I did my homework.
That's right. He did his homework. Look,
What
Plaschke.
homework?
Mariotti said the word flip-flop. On TV, you see his face and the word flip-flop coming out of his mouth. That's an act of extreme courage. Out of bounds is next.
Coming up, forget destiny. Brett Favre is on fire. But would you take him over Donovan McNabb on Sunday? Furthermore, if you want to know why $30 million couldn't buy a USC LSU game, then don't flip around to the Horn. It's around the Horn, where after 2 rounds, here's how they stand. Mr. Michael Holley has 32. Jay Mariotti has 29. Woody Page has 29. And Max gave Plaschke the old Kellerman salute. Right now, it's out of bounds.
It's out of bounds where it's all inbounds. First topic. For the last time, Pete Rose is a liar and a gambling addict. And he's also the all-time hits leader and played on the winning team more times than anyone in baseball history. Last night, all of that was made clear on ABC's Primetime Thursday with Charles Gibson. Guys, what was your reaction to the interview, Jay?
Well, I'm looking for contrition, remorse, just an honest bone in this man's body. And what do I get? Charlie Gibson opens the interview, reads the rule about gambling. Pete says, oh, no. You're making too big a deal out of that rule. What? I wanted to turn it off right there. I spent the whole day rereading the book, as I told you yesterday. He's blaming his problems on ADHD. How convenient is that? I missed the deadline, boss.
Woody Mariotti's read the book twice now in 2 days. Go ahead, I'm sorry.
That's all right. I broke down and watched the show, and here's what came from a viewer who emailed me, and I think this makes more sense than anything.
Yep.
He waited 14 years to tell the truth. Let's wait 14 years to put him in the Hall of Fame.
Okay.
I think that's true. Faye Vincent came off as the most convincing aspect of the entire evening. He was right. Even though Rose has come clean, he's still dirty.
Okay, Michael?
Well, guess what? See, I didn't watch the show, and I didn't need to, because I'm not looking for the same thing that these moralists are. I don't expect contrition from Pete Rose. I don't expect sincerity from Pete Rose, because he has never been that.
Right.
So if he gives you something he's never been, then you question that, and you say he's not really telling the truth.
He's trying to get back into the good graces of baseball.
The bottom line is, put him in the Hall of Fame, say he was a great hitter, and you can call him a liar, you can call him a sleazy guy. Well, look, I think Faye Vincent has an agenda here because he blames Pete Rose somehow, and this is unfair, Faye, for the death of Bart Giamatti. And I don't think that's fair either.
Guys, that was incredible to me. That's an outrageous comment to make. The one thing that did impress me about Pete Rose is that he does not take responsibility for his behavior. Everything's either in the past or he guarantees the future. He sounds like a real addict, not taking it one day at a time. To Pete Rose, there's no present, so he doesn't have to be responsible for his behavior. Next topic. Money buys almost everything, but it didn't buy a USC LSU game to settle the BCS controversy. Thursday, Ted Waite, the president of Gateway Computers, offered both schools $10 million in scholarships for disadvantaged students and $10 million more to the winner if they just play on January 24th. And guess who said no? The NCAA. Guys, explain to me why the NCAA wouldn't do this. Woody.
Well, it's in the bylaws that it can't be done, but you take an exception. You bring together the directors and you change the bylaws and make an exception here. I'm solutions-oriented. Not only do you play it, but you play it in Norman, Oklahoma, guys. and let the winner be there and stick it up Oklahoma.
You know, I have an even better solution. How about ignoring the NCAA, challenging them? What are they going to do, sue these two institutions? They need these cash cow institutions.
That's right.
Play the game yourselves. It's for a good cause, and the hell with the NCAA.
Okay, Michael, wouldn't you have liked to see this game?
You know, I'm in the minority here in more ways than one, but I'll say this. I didn't really want to see this game because it comes off as a barnstorming event. It's almost 3 weeks after that BCS game, and it's still 2 one-loss teams going at it.
Okay.
If USC wins, what does it prove?
Michael, you do not ignore $30 million in scholarships for disadvantaged.
All right, go ahead, Woody.
If an Ohio State University was in it, you'd be the first to cry out for it.
That is true. And as it stands now, Mariotti is the first to cry because he ain't making it to the next round. It's Woody Page versus Michael Holley. Youth against ancient old age coming up next.
Coming up, how much would I invest in Beyonce futures? In for a penny, in for a pound. The Horn!
Showdown time, but first, disembodied voice.
Yes.
Who's your Super Bowl pick?
I like the St. Louis Football Cardinals featuring Dan Deerdorf and Terry Metcalf. Great ball club, Air Coryell. Part 1. Oklahoma defensive tackle Tommy Harris will forego his senior season to enter the NFL draft. And your New York Mets, that's your team, isn't it, are offering Vlad Guerrero a 3-year, $30 million deal.
Outrageous. I'm a Yankees fan. I hate the Mets. First topic. Brett Favre and the Packers take on Donovan McNabb and the Eagles Sunday. The two faced each other on November 10th, with McNabb, of course, leading Philly to a last-minute TD and a win. Who'd you rather have for Sunday's game, Favre or McNabb? Woody, go.
Oh, there's absolutely no doubt about this. Brett Favre, you cannot tackle or block, Michael. Destiny. And Carlos Emmons is not in the game, strong side linebacker. Nobody's going to be able to get to Favre, who has 14 consecutive touchdown passes in playoff games.
Woody, let's go with recent history here. I saw McNabb and Favre go head-to-head on a Monday night, and I saw McNabb come out on top. Also, Al Harris, the star of the Packers last game, is a former Eagle, and I'm sure McNabb knows his weaknesses.
Woody's living off the Emmons thing. Come on, Woody, stop it already. Next topic. As first reported by ESPN.com, Bill Callahan accepted the head coaching job at Nebraska today. Callahan met with Nebraska officials over the past 2 days and was offered the job on Thursday night. Terms of the agreement were not available. Did Nebraska make the right hire? 15 seconds each, Howard.
They made the right hire, although I've said this before, they never should have fired Frank Solich. But this is why Callahan is the right hire. Last year, he was in the Super Bowl. You need a guy with cachet. You got to compete with Oklahoma, your biggest rival. Oklahoma is sending guys to the NFL, and they need someone to come in and say, look, I know how to get you to the league, and Callahan can do that because he was just there.
It doesn't matter what I say. I know this is fixed because I'm a majority, but Bo Pelini should have been the coach. The players, the fans, everybody wanted him except Steve Peterson. They made the wrong choice here. Callahan is a bad pro coach.
Say something else, Woody, or Michael gets it because you haven't convinced me. Nothing. Nothing from Woody Page. Michael, you're the winning sweet 15 seconds.
I know we're all excited about football this weekend, but the stars of the weekend are the Sloans, Jerry and Bobby Sloan. I don't know if you guys have seen this story. Bobby Sloan has cancer, and Jerry Sloan thought about going away from the bench and being with her, but Bobby Sloan urged her husband to stay with the Utah Jazz. Congratulations to that family, and I hope everything works out for them.
Well said, Michael. We're on all next week, every day, 5 p.m. Eastern. That's going to do it, folks. We're on a 71.5-hour break. See you Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Around the Horn.
Hey, I hope Holly and Mariotti have a great...
Around the Horn is a presentation of ESPN, the worldwide leader in sports. For up-to-the-minute sports information, log on to ESPN.com.
Your partner for fixing this thing.
Well, look...
Pardon the interruption, but I'm Mike Wilbon. Tony, President Bush wants to put a man on Mars. Who should go?
I'm Tony Kornheiser. Well, if he shows some contrition, maybe Pete Rose.
Can you gamble on Mars? They have the ponies or something up there? Sports book? OTB?
It's really OTB up there. Welcome to PTI, boys and girls. In today's episode, Pete Rose shows us his onions.
What?
A confidential list of celebrity phone numbers hits the internet, and Wilbon and I decide whether we'd want to live on the moon. But we start with a little thing we like to do on Fridays that we call The NFL playoffs.
What is that?
Fred Carter.
What is that?
What about Ron Jaworski, who you idolize?
Yes, I do.
Has picked all 4 home teams to win this weekend. 3 of the 4 home teams, St. Louis, New England, and Kansas City, are 8-0 at home this year. The 4th, Philadelphia, has Donovan F. McNabb. If you're any kind of a man, you will pick at least 3 road teams to win.
Well, I think 2 road teams will win.
Which 2?
And the question is, can I figure out which 2? Now, you know, I can't pick against Donovan McNabb, my boy. My homie.
Even though Green Bay really is one of the best-looking teams to come into this situation and will not get hurt playing in the weather.
I think all 4 can win because Philadelphia is so injured, Tony. They are so injured. They are missing a great offensive player with 13 touchdowns. They're missing a great defensive player.
Emmons.
Emmons, their best linebacker, probably against the run. I'm going to pick Indy at Kansas City. That's the easy pick. Everybody's picking that.
You have said for a long time Kansas City is 1 and done.
Defense, 30th and D.
Right.
I'm scared to pick Carolina at St. Louis because Marshall Faulk in these kinds of games
but you hate Mike
is
Marsh.
a stud.
But you hate Mike Marsh.
I hate him.
You do. You're always ripping him.
I ripped him early in the year when he wasn't giving the ball to who?
But they,
Marshall Faulk.
But they've got a runner and a passer.
They can do it both.
That's a 2-dimensional offense.
You know, Philly's so injured. I really think, as I'm pulling for Donovan McNabb, I really think that Green Bay and Indy will be road teams that win.
Green Bay and Indy. So it doesn't bother you that Indy is coming from an indoor circumstance to an outdoor circumstance.
Check the forecast, 45 degrees or so in Kansas City.
How about 0 degrees in New England? But you like New England over Tennessee.
I like New England at home.
You do like New England.
And Tony, if Carolina wins, I'm going to be upset because I keep leaning toward it, but I keep also hearing the words Marshall Faulk in my head.
Go over this again. Are you picking Green Bay?
Yeah.
You're picking Green Bay. You're going against your boy.
I'm not going.
I'm going against your boy. Against your boy.
The Atlanta Falcons have made a somewhat surprising hire, Tony. Michael Vick's career is now in the hands of Jim Mora Jr., who for the last 5 years has been the defensive coordinator of the San Francisco 49ers. The Mora had marginal success with the Niners. They allowed 69 points in 2 playoff games last season, and his defense was only 21st this past season in points allowed. Not the most impressive numbers you could ever hear. Tony, are you surprised with some of the candidates available, the Falcons picked Mora, a defensive coach?
You're going against your boy. You're going against your boy.
They're injured. He didn't have Brian Westbrook.
I am very impressed with Jim Mora Sr. I like Jim Mora Sr.
I know you do.
So I don't know Jim Mora Jr. from a hole in the wall, but I'm sure he's a fine fellow. It surprises me a little bit that when you get rid of Dan Reeves, you know, that you end up with somebody who wasn't necessarily on the radar.
You mean a guy of stature like Dan Reeves?
I understand going for a defensive guy because you got Michael Vick. You know,
but
you've got a good offense.
Michael Vick.
Well, you hire a quarterback's coach. You hire an offensive guy. But I think if the owner of Atlanta had his way, Joe Gibbs would have been his coach. Once the Washington job became open, that wasn't available.
It was out of bounds,
It's been reported that Nick Saban was willing to interview there, but that Arthur Blank said, no, we already got our guy. That surprises me.
Seems like Rich McKay's been in this situation before in Tampa.
Yeah.
Where he was lining up some more interviews, and the owner comes in and Bigfoots him and says, here's our guy.
That's surprising.
Kind of weird.
Since Isaiah Thomas came to the New York Knickerbockers a couple of weeks ago, he's basically cleaned out the whole roster. He made the big move bringing in Stephon Marbury. And last night in Marbury's Madison Square Garden debut, Marbury scored 6 points. And the Knicks lost to the Houston Rockets at home now by 32.
Yao Ming, baby.
Fans were screaming, fire Chaney. Woo. Wilbon, should Isaiah Thomas fire Don Chaney?
Not based on these 2 games. If Isaiah wanted to come in and say, this is not working, it's inadequate, he could have fired Chaney when he came in a couple of weeks ago. But no, Tony, they played 2 games. They haven't practiced. Stephon Marbury, as spectacular as he is, he's a difficult player to play with. What you see right now is turnovers where he expects guys to be catching the ball for open shots, and those guys aren't there. They're a half step away. They're leaning the wrong direction. Let them practice and play a few games first.
I'm going the other way with this, and I'll tell you why. Chaney's had a bunch of extensions. He's 71 and 111 since he got there.
So fine when you get there.
Here's the bad thing, all right? They're trying to sell seats in the Garden. They sell out last night, and people are screaming, fire Chaney. A few miles away, they were screaming, fire Fossil, and that happened. I'm not saying he's got to do it tonight, but if you start selling tickets and all you hear in the building is fire Chaney, you have to make that move, even if he doesn't want to.
My contention is no coach would have won with the Knicks in these 2 games. You mentioned he's changed the whole roster.
If the public perception, if the crowd comes in and does that time and time again, you can't live with it.
If it's 8 games in, it's 2 games in. Isaiah's got some guts.
Isaiah's smart
enough. He's a basketball guy. He understands. Isaiah knew it was hard to play with Isaiah. He's got to find people, and they have to know where he's going to throw passes.
Will he be fired by the end of the year?
By the end of the year, yeah, I said that a long time ago, but not tonight. You're New Yorkers. You're a Knicks guy. You just want the guy out.
Why not tonight?
Carnage.
You got a big date?
Tony, you know, nothing gets me as riled as a story pointing out the NCAA's ineptitude, incompetence, and complete hypocrisy. And here is another one. The CEO of Gateway, the computer company, has offered Southern Cal and LSU $30 million in scholarship money to play a real championship game the week before the Super Bowl. Not surprisingly, the NCAA cites its own stupid rules as to why it would not sanction such a game. Tony, I think the schools ought to play the game anyway and tell the NCAA to go to hell. What do you think of that?
Well, I think that's typical of your response. If they play the game anyway, if they play the game anyway and they take the money, all the other teams in Division I say, hey, wait a second, how come they got all the money?
And they're going to pull out.
All right, so
they're going to pull out too.
My feeling on this is that what happened this year was terrible, and changes have to be made, and you have to eventually go to a playoff system. And if you don't go to a playoff system, when you have a circumstance like you had this year, where two teams are like co-number ones, you have to have a playoff game. But if you do it this year, most of the guys on these teams have already sort of bolted out of football mentality. And I don't know that you'd get a true winner in this thing, because you would have then had two games, separated by 2 months.
Get 2 more weeks of practice. Tony, it's sad. The NCAA is turning up its nose at all this money. The NCAA, which would fleece anybody. The NCAA representatives who would stand on a corner in the cold with a cup out and have you put nickels in it. These people are liars and thieves. I can't believe you're not upset about $30 million. You turned out $30 million of your state university now? Even LSU and Southern Cal? It's unbelievable.
Where do I sign up?
Unbelievable.
Through a horrifying mistake by someone in the Associated Press New York office, which he will blame on New Yorkers, an internal phone list containing home phones and cell phones of the greatest athletes, coaches, broadcasters, and owners in American sports was mistakenly transmitted to almost every big-time AP client. And now, like the Paris Hilton tape, anybody can get it except me. Wilbon, you spent years sucking up to Bud Selig and Gary Bettman to get their home numbers, and now bozos have it. Is this a terrible, fireable offense by AP, or is it pretty damn cool?
Terrible and fireable.
Yeah.
You know, but cool. You're laughing, I'm laughing. Why? Because your home phone number and my home phone number not on this list. Oh, there's a couple of sports writers on here. But Bino Cook.
Bino Cook is on that list.
Because you know you wouldn't want people calling you from bars at 2 in the morning.
But the list is not completely up to date as
no, because Joe DiMaggio's on it.
Ted Williams is on
really
it.
Up to date.
So when you call Ted, they put the phone in the tank and see if you can talk to his head.
Somebody's got to be fired. And it's bad. It's a bad deal. First of all, AP has killed its own people, its own sports writers, who now, I mean, if you have to get rid of all the numbers are going to change, how do you get them all back?
How many numbers have you already copied and put in your own Rolodex?
Well, Ernie Banks, my idol.
I hope you haven't copied
Yogi Berra,
because you're going to get the machine.
Terry Bradshaw.
He's not there.
You think this is Bobby Brown as in Dr. Bobby Brown?
Maybe.
Or
no.
Bobby Brown as in Whitney Houston? Am I going to call and get Whitney singing?
There's a lot of people. You know, Gene Autry, again, you get the machine. A lot of Red Holtzman's on there, you get the machine. We're taking a break. When we come back, we'll ask Troy Aikman whether he believes in teams of destiny. And later, did Pete Rose really need to have his legs quite so far apart?
Ken Burns.
I don't
Wilt.
know Ken Burns.
Wilt is right here.
You're going to get the
Pardon the interruption. Presented by Guinness Draft Stout. Drink responsibly. Brilliant.
I think the Packers and the Eagles is the glamour game of the weekend, and Troy Aikman will be in the booth to analyze it for Fox Sports. And Troy, as good as the Eagles have been lately, I think football fans are tuning in to see Brett Favre. You know, you were in 3 Super Bowls. You won them. Is he in that kind of zone right now, Favre?
Well, there's no question that he's playing exceptionally well, but that entire football team has played well. The defense did not play as great last week against Seattle, but prior to that ball game, the defense had been playing well also. Of course, Amon Green in that offensive line. But Brett Favre, you know that at some point in all these games, these playoff games, when you're talking about a big game, the quarterback eventually has got to be able to make some plays. And I think Brett realized that throughout the entire season. Everybody was concentrating on what Amon Green in that running game was doing. And then Brett Favre stepped up when he had to because of the inconsistencies in the run game last week and had a great ball game.
In the sports writer game, we like to identify teams of destiny, and we've now talked about destiny in terms of the Packers. As a player, do you believe in destiny, or do you think that's just for sports writers?
Well, no, I think it's. I think as far as destiny is concerned, I think it's overrated. I think it makes a great storyline. It's great to talk about it for those of us that are in the media. But you still have to go out and play. I do believe that when you're talking about the Packers and what they've been through emotionally here over the last 2 to 3 ball games, that I do believe that can galvanize a football team, and people can rally around that. And certainly this is a football team that has rallied around it. They've played well, and they're playing with tremendous confidence. But I don't necessarily believe in destiny, no.
Troy, I was one of those guys who still liked Philly even when they were struggling, and they've been on a roll for a long time now.
Because you suck up to Donovan McNabb.
My homie, that may be true. But, Troy, how much of a disadvantage are the Eagles at now that Emmons and Westbrook are hurt and not going to be available to that team?
Well, Emmons is a guy, Carlos Emmons. A lot of people watching this show probably aren't familiar with the contributions that Carlos has had throughout this season. He was voted as the team MVP defensively this season, so that gives you a pretty good idea as to what he's meant to that ball club. He covers the tight ends. He does a lot for that team. I think if you look at the other side and Brian Westbrook, as you mentioned, I don't know that they're going to miss Westbrook as much in the running game. Of course, they've got Deuce Staley and Correll Buckhalter, but I do believe that they will miss him in the passing game. They're used to creating some matchup problems by splitting him out, using him as a receiver. Deuce Staley does catch the ball, but he doesn't do the same types of things that Brian Westbrook does, and of course Correll Buckhalter is primarily a runner.
Let's move off that game a second to the other NFC game. Wilbon has sat here and insanely insisted that Carolina can go into St. Louis and win that game. I want you to slap him and tell him he's nuts that St. Louis will win that game, Troy.
Well, I tell you what, of course they are playing there in St. Louis, and St. Louis hasn't lost in a long time there at their place. But I think if you look at what happened in that last game of the season for the Rams against Detroit on the road in a game that everyone knew what was at stake, they did not play particularly well. Mark Bulger did not play particularly well. And so you've got to wonder, how is this team going to respond now that they're playing in a meaningful playoff game? I think that they will play well, and I believe that they'll go on to win this ball game. But I do think it'll be a close game. I think Carolina can create some problems, with their blitzing and some of the things that they do up front defensively.
Troy, in either of the two AFC games, can you see either Indy winning on the road or Tennessee winning on the road against good teams that have also had bye weeks and had all this time to prepare for this playoff game?
Yeah, it's hard. I mean, there's no question that the bye week is extremely important, and that's why you go through a 16-game schedule in order to get the bye. Kansas City is a very difficult place to play. Those fans do a great job of creating a home field advantage. But Indianapolis is playing well. Peyton Manning is a great quarterback, as we all know. I think he can be a real difference maker. They have a chance in that ball game, but I like the home team in both of those AFC matchups as well.
So then if we understand you have picked all 4 home teams, right? We gave you an opportunity. You picked all 4 home teams. But if you see one upset, if forced, which would it be?
If I were to pick one upset, it would be the Green Bay-Philadelphia game. I think Green Bay has the best chance of the visiting teams to go in and upset the home team. Of course, these two teams met earlier in the season. Philadelphia won that game. It was at Lambeau. But look back on it, Green Bay had 6 fumbles in that ball game. If they do nothing more than protect the ball, it's probably not much of a game. Of course, now they've got to go there to Lincoln Financial Field. But I think that's going to be the heck of a ball game, probably the best game of the weekend.
Well, you be there. Thank you, Troy.
Okay, guys.
Troy Aikman, boys and girls. We're taking a break, but when we come back, more world-class entertainment and, unfortunately, more Wilbon.
Thankfully for the viewers, more me.
He agrees completely with Ron Jaworski.
Yep, Troy and Jaws.
Game
right
by game.
Yep.
Game by... All week, Wilbon has begged me for a rematch on Toss-Up, so I figured I'd throw him a bone. Let's get the first one for the producer over the loudspeaker.
Toss-Up, scarier prospect, Mad Yow or Mad Cow?
Mad Yow is an oxymoron. There is no Mad Yow. Ask Van Gundy. The guy's so passive he won't even dunk.
Well, you get a guy like that who's 7'6".
Oh,
He's got to be afraid of hurting somebody. He doesn't want to just come in and just start terrorizing people. And I think it's unfair to ask him to be angry. Like you want to feed him gunpowder and food.
Mad Cow is much scarier than Mad Yow. Look,
scarier to you. We live in the United States of America. We're not going to get any Mad Cow.
I'm not a vegan. I eat steak.
I know
if you show me pictures of cows going down on all 4s, I get nervous about steak.
Where has that been happening? Cows going down on all 4s? Anywhere near you?
Seattle, Washington.
Do you live in Seattle? You live in the other Washington. Hello?
I live in America.
You live in D.C. 3,000 miles and cows now walking.
Toss up. What should Sean Salisbury do for a living? Coach or yap?
I yap. Sean Salisbury should take the chance to coach. How many guys, other than Denny Green, the answer would be none, are going to give him the chance to be the quarterback's coach on an NFL team? That's a cool job, and he ought to do it.
You're crazy.
He ought to do it.
What do you think the average lifespan of a coaching staff in the NFL is?
4 or 5 years.
No, it's under 3.
So what?
All right, so that means you give up a chair where Sean Salisbury, and we both know this, is very good at what he does, to go and be with Billy Bidwell?
He can get another chair anytime he's good at it. He's got to be tired of beating up on John Clayton. Let him go out with his own kind football players and teach them how to pass and run.
Don't do it, Sean. Don't listen to this idiot.
He'll make more money as an assistant coach.
No, he won't.
Next, he will.
He won't.
Toss up, which owner would you rather apprentice for, Al Davis or George Steinbrenner?
This is going to shock you where I'm going.
Say your boy.
I'm going for Al. I'm going for Al because Al is a native New Yorker and George Steinbrenner is from Ohio. And you know what you're going to learn when you're with Al right away? How to sue people. You're going to get to wear a cool velour suit.
Or the white
jumpsuit. Wear the shades, and you're going to sue people who wear them while you're wearing them. You get to call everybody babe. You get to say this.
I'm going to
He's
call
going
Al.
down. He's going down hard.
I'm going to call Al and tell him how you've been ripping him, and he'll choose me to apprentice for him.
You can call Al.
I got Al's number right here.
How many numbers for
I got 4 numbers for Steinbrenner, only 2 for Al.
Would you go with Al? Right?
Of course I go with Al. And I covered the NFL, and I got to actually be around Al Davis. I took a couple of cross-country flights with him. There's nothing cooler than hanging out with Al Davis.
Is the coolest guy in the league.
That's right.
He fought the league, and he won, not the league.
How's your boy
What's
George going to feel about this?
Toss up, more objectionable, Charlie Gibson's low-riding glasses or Pete Rose's wide-open leg?
Oh, that Pete Rose look, we had that here once. That was a Greta Von Susteren situation when she was doing a Celebrity Stat Girl. Had pants on.
Don't say that.
That is not working. That suit that Pete Rose is wearing looks like the kind of suit you get when you leave prison. That is a caveman-looking player.
The thing is, Pete has his legs so wide open. Maybe he thinks he's Johnny Bench. He's going to start flashing some signals, fastball, curve.
Now I got
what is he doing?
I got a slight problem with Charlie Gibson wearing the glasses, the Ben Franklin look. Very haughty, very schoolmasterly.
They're reading glasses, and for those who don't know, let me inform them at home. You need the glasses.
I need the glasses.
Because you can't even see your own writing
anymore.
anymore.
All the way down the nose. I think Pete wanted to take a pop at him. I think Pete wanted to hit him. I think Pete's worst gaffe was the 14 on the collar.
Oh, that's not his worst gaffe.
What was it for?
He's got plenty. How about gambling on his own team?
Yeah, but he didn't show that. He says he quit. No more gambling. Right. What's next?
Toss up, last one. Where will you retire, Mars or the moon?
Now, we have to explain this. Today, President Bush is apparently ready to announce that he wants to have a permanent settlement on the moon. Why don't you just say to Howard Dean, here are the keys to the White House right now?
Well, let's call and ask him. Here's George W. Bush right here. Got his home phone number.
I got to show this to the people. In the Washington Post today, where I get a camera, Bush plans to call for settlement on moon. Look,
well, maybe it means in 150 years.
We got people getting shot in Iraq, American soldiers. We got schools that don't have books, that don't have floors and stuff like that.
I got a plan.
You can't worry about the moon.
Let's take the money from the Gateway game and give it to them.
That's fine.
Okay?
That's
so
fine.
Play the game.
Because what are you going to have?
On the moon or here?
Like a charter to the moon for off-track betting?
Only you can get that
golf
upset.
Courses and condos? Forget the moon. Talk about that after the election. That's it. It's over. I win. Twice in a week. Ha. Time for a break. Don't go anywhere because we still got to talk about figure skating. Wilbon loves that.
Yeah.
Bill Callahan and another setback for Serena Williams. Maybe we should call her. Is she on the list?
Let's see. Williams.
Because Ted Williams is on the list.
Ted Williams.
And he is
not Serena. Don't see Serena. Okay. Just Ted.
Pardon the interruption. Presented by Guinness Draft Stout. Drink responsibly. Brilliant. And in part by Time Warner Cable.
Happy time, people. Happy 69th birthday to Dick Enberg. 39 years as sportscaster. Before that, assistant baseball coach, Cal State Northridge. 13 Emmys, 9 Sportscaster of the Year awards. Oh, my.
You know what? We could call Enberg and wish him happy birthday, but he's not on the list. Eddie Einhorn, Harry Edwards, Ebersol. Those are the East. Eller, Elway, Uruzioni. Wow. No Enberg.
Happy anniversary, Matt Millen. On this day 3 years ago, you were named president and CEO of the Detroit Lions. This was a good new year for Matt Millen. He got word from the owner that he would return next year. Hopefully the Lions will win a few on the road for him. They're 0-24 on the road.
That's amazing. Millen, by the way.
On the list?
On the list. We already got it. We can get in touch with Matt Millen anytime we want.
He will take our calls.
Congratulate him.
Happy trails, Mo Vaughn. You say you're out for 2004. You're doubtful for 2005 with arthritis in your left knee. Let me ask you a question. When was the last time this guy actually got in a uniform, played 5 games in a row? He hasn't been an effective player since he was with the Red Sox in 1998.
Hey, he's injured. Can he get a little bit of
He never plays. He never plays. Time to find out what we messed up,
He's
Stat Boy.
getting a little bit, Michael. $15 million next year to not play.
He tried to give it back, and the union wouldn't let him.
Well, you guys are struggling.
Who are you, his agent?
Today. You guys have both LSU and USC as state schools. USC.
No, you guys didn't.
Okay.
He did.
My bad. My bad.
And also, Wilbon, you said NFL coaching lifespan 3 years. I don't believe that for 1 second.
Look it up.
Coaches,
Go to the tape.
You piped that.
Go to the
You
tape.
piped that. Here we go to the big finish.
Let's do it.
Nebraska officially hired Bill Callahan to be their coach. Good choice.
It was their only choice. Apparently nobody else wanted the job. Serena Williams pulled out of the Australian Open, saying she's not ready yet to compete. Your thoughts?
Come back when you're ready, like Mo Vaughn. Sasha Cohn has the early lead over Michelle Kwan in the U.S. Figure Skating Championships. How'd she do it?
What other figure skating championships? I don't know.
She hired
More importantly,
Sarah Hughes
I don't
as coach.
care.
She did
Howard
that.
Dean's campaign will be sponsoring a Busch Series race car. Good idea?
I thought he wanted Bush's job, not Bush's wheels. The Devil Rays hired Don Zimmer as an advisor. Good move.
Don't charge the mound, Zimmy. Don't do it.
He's nonverbal. He's a gerbil. He's the top. Time, Tony.
What was that? I'm Mike Wilbon. Have a great weekend. Sports Center is next. Bill Callahan, the new coach of Nebraska, joins Mike Greenberg now.
PTI. PTI.